Hi, I'm Chris Kucherin, guest host on Living 365 TV today. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365.
Hi, I'm Tammy Taylor, guest host on Living 365 TV today. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365.
Priya Ali, host of Living 365 TV. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365. Welcome to Living 365 TV. I'm your host, Priya Ali. This show is designed to bring you real experts, real tools for real people like you who are ready to stop waiting and start living 365. Welcome to the show. So great to have you back. Today we're going to be talking about angels. I love my angels. I love the angels. I love your angels. We're going to talk more about angels. But first, I want to let you know where we're going to be. We're going to be at Oakville's largest holistic wellness expo. Living 365 TV is going to be covering the expo on Saturday, November 21st from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's going to be at St. Joseph's Ukrainian Catholic Church. There will be over 85 local and surrounding area practitioners that will be offering their services up. Now, what happens here is you pay a fee of $25 to enter, and then you have access to all 85 practitioners for 15 minutes of free service. That is an amazing day. I'm looking forward to covering it and seeing you there. As well, we are going to be in Vancouver. We're going to Vancouver for all of our viewers from Vancouver and the surrounding area. Come and see us at the Body, Soul, and Spirit Expo from Friday, October 30th to November the 1st. And that's at the PNE Forum. I'm really looking forward to heading out to Vancouver and meeting all of you. Today, joining me for this wonderful show on angels is Chris Kucherin, spiritual teacher and founder of Rainbow Energy Healing. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Priya.
And the lovely Tammy Taylor, psychic medium, angel guidance, and healing practitioner. Welcome, Tammy.
Thank you, Priya.
Such a pleasure to have you both here. Now, I have known you for quite some time, but it's been a long time since we've connected. You actually reminded me that you'd been here before, and I had forgotten. And you, I am just meeting for the first time, and I'm wondering why I haven't known you before.
I don't know, Priya.
You seem like so much fun. It feels like we would have crossed paths before. I bet you're not. Just saying. Let me throw that out there.
Okay.
So I brought you in today to help me raise awareness around the angels, the angelic realm, and what it is to communicate with our angels. We are all able to do so. And I wanted to ask you all to help me share with the viewers how to kind of get a sense of that we are communicating with our angels, how to help us enhance our connection with the angels, how to get us started if we haven't even done it before, and to go from there. Personally, for me, my journey began because you have abilities in the psychic and mediumship abilities as you both do. I have as well. I was born that way, and actually learning to become comfortable with that. And as I was mentioning to you earlier, it runs in my family as well, and my aunt was actually institutionalized back in South America for having psychic and mediumship abilities because it was considered a bad thing. And for me, that on a subconscious level as well really created a lot of chaos and discomfort for me. And I kept it I was in the psychic closet, so to speak, for a very long time, in the mediumship closet, because of the fear and the stigma around it. And my really first conscious connection with my angels was through, who's now 15, my son at the time. He was experiencing some things, and I took him to a metaphysical store, and he walked in there. He was about 5 years old, and he was drawn to some crystals, and the store owner gravitated to him and spoke to him and helped him choose his crystals. And we left there, and he said, "Mommy, that's the most peaceful I've felt in all my life." And I thought, wow, that's a 5-year-old. And I was meditating one day, and he came to me and he said, "Mommy, why don't you use my crystal today?" And I said, okay. So I went through my meditation, and I began to start hearing the guidance. I started to hear the guidance come through for me, followed by the voice of my grandmother who had passed. And I was a little shaken, to say the least, I'll be honest with you, hearing it. And so after the meditation, I called him in because I'm thinking, help somebody, what's going on? So I'm tuning this adult woman to my 5-6-year-old son, and I was like, son, I'm hearing this voice and I'm hearing my grandma. And he goes, oh, it's about time, Mummy. They told me this was the crystal that would help you. Finally.
Wow.
Okay, here we go. Right? And so I started off with a deck of angel cards from that time on, and working through that. I connected with you. You helped me and mentored me through that time of my life. I went off to Hawaii and spent time with Doreen Virtue, and then just continued to grow in that capacity. So I'm curious to know, after that big long story, as to how you all kind of came into connection with your angels. Jump in, whoever wants to go first.
Well, I grew up in a very psychic household. My mom read palms, she read tea leaves. They weren't big on protection.
Yeah.
So one of the things I like to do now is house cleansing, because I know what it's like when people are using Ouija boards and tarot cards and they're not protected.
Yes.
But when I was growing up, it was just a given. If I needed an answer to something, my mom would always say, well, just contact your guardian angel. Just sit quietly and ask your guardian angel for the answer. So I always grew up with just ask your guardian angel. Just always sort of go into that place of meditation and reflection, and let the answers come to you.
Yeah.
And now I had a lot of past life fear, which I didn't know about. I was terrified, and I mean terrified, of anyone finding out that I was psychic. And I had an experience in Belfast, Northern Ireland, where the spirit of this young woman came to see me. And she had a message for our tour guide. And I passed it on to him. Once I got home, I sent him a note and I passed him on this message. And it was a very beautiful message. And I was terrified when I was sending it. It's like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? You can't make me do this. I hate this. This is the stupidest thing ever. And I'm cursing away. And this beautiful message as I'm typing it out. I pressed send, and I hoped and prayed that was it. And about 3 weeks later, he got back to me, and he had this very beautiful response, and about how profound it was, how life-changing the message was. And that was the first time in my life I thought, okay, maybe if I can learn how to control all of this stuff, maybe something good could come from it.
Yeah.
And what I did was I contacted Chris.
Yeah. Everybody should go to Chris when you get
Go
started.
see Chris, go see Chris.
Or Tammy and I. Go to Chris too.
And Chris really helped me. With me, it was all past life. So it was all about bringing up past life fears. And it was lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of people finding out I was psychic and being burnt at the stake, being tortured, being imprisoned. So when you talk about your aunt being mentally institutionalized, I mean, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
You know, and this has been going on for centuries. So those that are very psychic have often had a past life history of torture, of torment, of incredible fear. So there's a lot of incredibly intuitive people out there that are terrified of this whole subject matter. And going to see Chris and really working with the angels really helped me get this under control. And so one of my favorite things to do now is to do readings with clients where I bring in their guardian angels and their spirit guides and just translating those messages as they come through. And I love it now, but it was a tough road, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I can totally understand, because I've had this similar experience in my past lives as well, as the being beheaded, being burnt at the stake because of this knowledge or these messages that we were bringing in, and you know, the witch around us and that kind of thing. So I completely identify with what you're talking about, and I think that also was in my fear too, until I learned to embrace it and ask for the guidance and the assistance of my angels to help me work through that and allow me to bring those messages through.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I have a little bit of a different experience. So I wasn't aware that I was psychic my whole life. I think I was very psychic till about 3 or 4 years old.
Yes.
And my mom and dad were somewhat afraid of it and didn't really know what to do with it. So oftentimes when I would experience something, they would say, oh, it's just imaginary, you're not seeing anything. So I shut down my psychic gifts maybe unconsciously as a child, just to fit in with mom and dad and to be safe. And so as I grew up, I was not really aware of what you talk about being psychic your whole life.
Yeah.
And I think my story is a great example for those people who feel that maybe they're not psychic, because we are all psychic. For me, it started in my 30s, And it started in the early 2000s with meditation. As I started to meditate, I started to have experiences. I started to hear voices. I started to feel palpable sensations of a hand on my shoulder. There's nobody there. I'd start to feel as if somebody was caressing my cheek or just running their fingers through my hair. And that led me to want to understand more. In conjunction with that, I had left my high-tech business career in the computer field and began helping people as a life coach. And by being of service to people, the angels, my angels, are there to help because they're representing our Creator's will of love and help and assistance and service. And so when I decided to be of service, I started really noticing those touches, those caresses, those inner words of guidance. And so that led me to a book falling off the shelf and studying about angels. It was a Doreen Virtue book. And I went to California and Hawaii and studied with Doreen and learned to communicate with angels. So during that process, it was probably around the time I met you in the mid to late 2000s, I was having my experiences of talking with my angels, getting to know them, having a voice show up in my head, or a sensation in my body, or sometimes a visual, like a visual experience of something that was very powerful, that was maybe not yet occurred, but was about to happen. And then when it happened, it taught me that I was visually psychic, which had been shut down most of my life. So it really was an awakening and a blossoming process. It was a very exciting time. And it was during that time that I received help and guidance from the angels that I was going to work with an energy healing modality. So rainbow energy healing was something that I learned about from angels and have been teaching about since then, and teaching also how to help people open up those gifts, just as I had went through. I didn't have that teacher next to me, mentoring, holding my hand. It was maybe a book here or there and just my own experiences. And I think what's really happened now in the year we find ourselves in 2015, everybody is intuitive and everybody is psychic. Everybody has that divine birthright, I like to say. It is your birthright to utilize that intuitive connection. And it's different for everybody. For some it's visual, for some intuition is a gut feeling, for some it's just a knowingness, and for some it's that inner voice of truth and what resonates as being valid and important and guiding for people. So everybody is psychic, and that's one of the things I like to do now. I've been doing for some time is just teaching people that how to identify it within themselves and then utilize it. And I think one of the most beautiful things about working with angels is angels are a messenger or a form of what our highest source has for us. Our highest source, the will of our Creator, our infinite source of love and wisdom, has a message that says, you are safe, you are eternal, all is well, you can overcome fear. There is love supporting you and flowing through you, and you can give that. And you are powerful and creative in this present moment, so you can create whatever you want. And healing is a choice that you can make. You can be whole, integral in every way now. So the angels bring us those messages. And once we learn that intuitive connection, however it comes to us, whatever form, angels are bringing us that opportunity in this moment to stop waiting and start living, if you will.
Oh, thank you. I like that. I like how you tied that in there.
Segue. Where did we go next?
But you bring up a lot of great points, actually, as my wheels are turning as I listen to you and where we're going with this next. There's so many things that you said there. One of them is the way that we receive communication, that everybody is different. And I think that's so important for people to recognize and appreciate. I can remember going to angel therapy in Hawaii, and my son basically was kind of my mentor. And I can remember him being able to see the auras and just, oh, Mommy, there's the red or the blue or the whatever. And he would see in these vibrant colors. And I was like, hee-haw, I'm going to angel therapy and I'm going to be seeing me some auras, right? And so I'm sitting there in the training, and it was like, okay, cards, yep, I know how to do that, I'm good, yep, I'm doing it, yep, I got that aura reading, what is that? Okay, aura reading. So we sit down, pick a partner, it's time to read the auras. And exactly the way that I had been seeing them all along, and they were kind of in my mind's eye, whereas I thought, I don't know what I thought, like a big balloon or something with color was going to come around this person, I was going to see it. But for me, I see them kind of in my mind's eye. And Doreen says, for some of you, you'll just see them in your mind's eye. And I was like, really? I've been seeing them all along and I didn't know because I was so intent on it being the way that my son did. I thought I wasn't doing it right, or I was missing out on something, or maybe it wasn't real. But it's something that's already within you that you're maybe just not attuned to, or you're not aware of, that you are actually, it's that little voice that you haven't really made that connection that it's guiding you along, or it's that sense of knowing that your psychic intuition that you already have, that you don't really trust, you know, or that feeling that you get when something goes off, or angel, you know, people call them angel bumps or goosebumps or whatever, and it's just these little subtle things that happen for us, or maybe sometimes they're not so subtle, that people are not connected with. So I'm just wondering if we can outline some of, because we don't want to discount, they come in, everybody's individual, but some of the ways, again, just that people might get signs or feel that they can connect with their angels, that it is actually angelic guidance.
Do you want to do a couple, and I'll talk about a couple?
Okay, I'll do a couple.
Okay.
Well, sometimes you actually get physical signs, which is always a really nice one. I just did a house cleansing a couple of weeks ago, and I was down in the basement, and it was a clear floor. There's nothing there, and I'm saging the house, and there had been a lot of spirit activity in the house, and I'm walking ahead, and suddenly I just turned around, and the homeowner is about maybe 8-10 feet behind me, and she's looking at the ground, and she has this look of curiosity and wonder, and she's looking down on the ground, and right in the middle of the floor there's this feather, a white feather about this big. Now, I had just walked over there was no feather when I had just walked there. So sometimes you'll get these physical signs, or even like in the clouds you might get, where I remember going to a reading one time, and it was a group reading, and I wasn't feeling very well, and I was driving along kind of cranky about it all. And I'm talking to my spirit guides. I was like, well, you know, you have to help me out with this because I'm not feeling really good, and yada, yada, yada. And as clear as day, there's just this angel wing, this cloud shaped like an angel wing. All right, fine. I'll continue along.
Yes.
So there's all sorts of different signs, but certainly physical signs is one of them. And sometimes people will find coins.
Yeah.
Dimes are very common. So when they're looking for guidance, and you know, they're upset about things, and all of a sudden they'll see a dime. You know, and that's a sign from their angels. So it could come in physical forms as well.
Okay, I'll talk about
You
some
can
of the
go.
direct ways that we can connect with our angels. So I kind of like to group it in the area of those external physical signs that Tammy's talked about.